Hello everyone, you reach Business Central Musings. This is a channel dedicated to Business Central topics. Today's topic is customer prepayment. Sometimes when we have a bigger sale or a bigger purchase, we are asking the customers to provide a deposit before we ship to them. And that applies not only to selling merchandise, but even we can ask for a deposit if we, for example, if we provide jobs. For example, if our company is providing residential services like maybe fixing roofs or redoing roofs or building a pool or building a fence, sometimes the company asks for a deposit, and that translates in Business Central into a prepayment, because we will have a sales order, and the way we translate that deposit into an entity or into a concept in ERP and in Business Central is via a prepayment. So we generate a prepayment invoice, and we're expecting the customer to pay that prepayment before we actually ship the product or we start working on the job. I have here the steps that are part of the use case that involves prepayment. We create a sales order. The sales order has a prepayment section. We enter in the prepayment section the percentage that we're asking the customer to prepay us. We go and post the prepayment or the deposit that we're asking for. The customer pays the deposit or the prepayment, and we go ahead and ship the product, and we're waiting for the prepayment to be paid, for the remaining amount of the order to be paid. And when we receive that payment for the remaining amount, the use case is concluded. So let's get going and let's have a look at how is everything going to be running, how the use case is running. We are here in Dynamics 365 Business Central. I have a sandbox here based on version 24, which was released in April 2024, and we're gonna create a new sales order. A few things before we actually start generating the sales order. Let's have a look at general posting setup, because this is important. We have here a column in the general posting setup, sales prepayments account. You would need to create an account, a GL account, where the prepayments are posted. That's one thing. And the other setup needed is, if we go on to the sales and receivable setup, under the number series, you would need a posted prepayment invoice number series. I created one for prepayment invoices. You should do the same, and the way it looks like, let's have a look. It's pretty much the standard number series, and that would be the only two setups needed to make the prepayment work. Let's go here and let's choose a customer. Let's choose 20,000. This is Trade Research, and let's assume we're selling them something, let's say something that's a rounded amount, $1,000. Let's sell them 10 attends desk. And the way you set up the prepayment is here. The fast tab is here. We're expecting to charge them 10,500. The one thing we can do to make things simpler is to remove the tax group code to non-taxable. That will make the posting easier to understand. And so now we're expecting 10,000. Let's say we're asking for 25% deposit. When we do it on the header, we update the prepayment percentage. That's going to be propagated to the sales lines level. And if we click on the line, we can see here on the prepayment, let's just type here prepayment. Prepayment percentage 25. So we can see how from the header the lines were changed as well. And we're now ready to actually post the prepayment. And the way you do it is you go to actions, posting, prepayment, and you can click on post prepayment invoice. What we can do though, before we do that, we can do the preview prepayment invoice just to see how it looks like. And we can see the customer ledger entries that now we generated a prepayment invoice. It's an invoice for 2,500, 25% of 10,000, that's 2,500. And GL entries, we're expecting the accounts receivable debited for 2,500, and the account that we set up as prepayment account, WIP invoice sales, 2,500. But in fact, sometimes the deposits are posted right away. So let's say somebody is coming into the onto our floor and is asking for these 10 desks, and we say okay, but we do have them in stock, we can ship them to you right away, but we want 25%. Can you pay us right away the 25%? And this right away translates into basically the method code has to be linked to we need to tell basically the system that if we were to receive the prepayment automatically right away at the time of when we post the deposit or the prepayment, we would have to choose a payment method code that allows for such instant payment. And the only payment method code that can allow for instant payments at the time of the posting of the prepayment invoice is this cash payment method code. You see it's set up to go to 18100, which is the petty cash, so we're receiving in the petty cash. You can, this is the Kronos database. You can always create your own if the customer is paying with a credit card, you can set up the bank account that's easier connected to the credit card, and yeah, you can use this payment method code here. If we do that, and let's go with this use case because I explained that in one of the notes here, if the prepayment is requested right away, manipulate payment method code under invoicing fast tab on the invoicing tab to be cash or something similar. Important is that for instant cash in your bank, you need balance account number. This will trigger the payment of the prepayment invoice to be posted at the same time with the prepayment invoice. Let's see how that looks like. So we change the payment method code here. We still have the prepayment percentage 25. We haven't posted anything. Let's just simulate posting the invoice. Preview prepayment invoice posting. Let's see what's happening now. Remember last time we had one customer ledger entry for the invoice. Now we have two here customer ledger entries. One is for the invoice and one is for payment, and we see here how the two are offsetting each other on the same transaction. And if we were to look at the GL entries, what's happening is that the invoice part affects what? 15,110 is the receivables and 14,250 is the discount, the prepayment account basically, and then we're offsetting when we pay, which happened at the same time. We're offsetting the accounts receivable and we debit the petty cash, because the cash payment method code was linked to this petty cash account. So that's how we can process the prepayment, and let's just go ahead and do it for real this time. Post prepayment invoice, yes, and the prepayment invoice is posted, the payment of the prepayment is posted. Let's just go now ahead and say that we don't really require for the cash, for the remaining amount, which was from 10,000, we paid, the customer paid 2,500, so we're expecting about 7,500 in the remaining amount to be invoiced. So let's post the invoice. We're shipping at the same time and we're posting the invoice. Let's just do that, and let's go to the invoice for the 7,500. We can see we charged 10,000. We have now a GL account for the discount for 2,500, which we already did. We already processed. And if we look at the entries, we look at the GL entries. Let's order them by the entry number. And let's see what happened here. So the first two are to do with basically we shipped items out of our inventory from our warehouse. So items going out, this affects the inventory, the finished goods, and this is a sale. We need to post the cost of those finished goods, and the invoice here is where this is the sales account for 10,000, which is offsetting the prepayment account for 2,500, and the remaining amount, which is going to go into the accounts receivable, expected to be paid quite soon by the customer. So with that said, we can go to customer ledger entries, and we see here that we have a 7,500 invoiced, which we need to pay. The way to pay it, let's go to we can go to the cash receipt, for example, or we can use a bank deposit, or a register payment from the customers. But for now, let's use the cash receipt in this example. We are receiving cash, document type is payment, from customer 20,000. For what? We are receiving a payment for those 7,500, which are, let's see where they are. They are here. Let's apply the payment towards that. And this is ready to go now. Let's preview the posting. And customer ledger entry, we're expecting a payment to cover for the 7,500. And the GL entries, we see now the accounts receivable offset because we received the payment, and the payment is received into an asset, into a bank account, business account. That's how we set it up on the cash receipt journal. And yes, this concludes our exercise. We're going to look next at a sketch of what happened on the GL accounts for this use case. So as we discussed, we have created a sales order. Then we populated the prepayment fields in the prepayment fast tab. Then we posted the prepayment invoice. We posted the payment of the prepayment invoice received from the customer. Then we posted the remainder of the invoice because there was an amount left after the deposit for 7,500, and we posted the payment for the remaining amount and applied to the remainder of the invoice. And in accounting, in the T accounts, we have the assets here. Left hand side, we have the prepayment account, AR, accounts receivable, and the cash, which was the petty cash in our case. And then in the sales area, we have the one account where we posted the whole amount. So we had 10,000 as the total amount of the sales. We had a deposit of 2,500 and the remainder of 7,500. So first transaction was to invoice the prepayment, which was 2,500. We the way it went, we have the prepayment account. We credited we had a credit of 2,500. The offset of that was in the AR for the 2,500, the debit of 2,500. Then the number 2 transaction was to pay the payment, which in our case was automatically posted at the same time with the invoice. We offset the invoice, the prepayment invoice of the 2,500 with this payment 2,500, and also because we received 2,500 in cash, we debited the cash account, the petty cash account. Then at number 3, we had in green, we posted the remainder of the invoice, which is it's a sale of $10,000, which was distributed into the 2. So follow the green. Was distributed into 2 asset accounts. One was the AR 7,500 because we're still waiting for those 7,500, but we also offset the 2,500 that was prepaid. And in purple, we have the receival of, we received the 7,500 in cash from the customer, which offset the AR, because you see in the green we had the 7,500 in green and we offset it in with purple. And that concludes our exercise. Hope it helps, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.